Hello and welcome to OJMBC with plus 40 Thor. Cue the sirens.
Hey, whoa. That was terrible. Sorry. There we go.
All right, guys. Today we've got Game of Thrones talk. And we are not the only ones talking about it. We are introducing someone different to this channel. We've got our friend Cam.
Hey, hello.
Hi, Cam.
Where's everyone?
All right, so Cam, we usually have people come onto the show. Like we did this with a couple of others, but what we're going to do is we're going to get you to introduce yourself with a nickname. We've got plus 40 Thor. We've got Thor. What's your nickname?
It's got to be Ron.
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 Okay, I dubbed thee Ron.
Yeah.
All right. So, what you got for us? We're talking Game of Thrones. Do you want to introduce something to us, Cam? Or
I
Ron?
reckon we should start with the big question.
Okay.
What family would you be in?
Oh, Targaryen.
Ooh. Targaryen, you really are a Slytherin, bro. I've said this every episode.
Okay.
I mean, fair enough, fair dues.
Probably Stark, really, but I love Stark so much.
Now I have to say, I'm that guy. I'm Stark guy. Straight
I'd
up.
be the Stark guy, I think.
Same. Like I love the cold. Starks live in the north, live in the cold, and they all have their own pet wolves. Like imagine having your own wolf. Like yes, please.
Very true, yeah, very true.
Wolf.
Oh, I could do so much with the wolf, honestly. All right. I was thinking, who do you think? Oh, should we get onto this? Okay, let's get onto this. Okay, by the way, spoiler alert, we're gonna spoil a lot of stuff, so yeah.
Yeah, we didn't do that last episode, so this is your spoiler alert warning. If you've not seen it yet, shame on you. But anyways, exactly. Spoiler alert.
So, who do you think should have ended up on the throne?
Jon,
okay.
If I'm being completely honest here, I honestly thought that was going to get another throne made, and Daenerys and Jon would be sitting together on a throne each.
You're going for the romantic ending.
Yeah, romantic guy.
And then you realised you were watching Game of Thrones.
Kill every character. That's how you do it.
No, to be fair for me, I was expecting a plot twist. Like they were playing the whole thing up from like season 4 or whatever, as if Daenerys was going to end up in the throne. But at the same time, they also kind of started doing that later on with Jon Snow, like building up like, oh, he's going to get the throne. So I'm like, major plot twist, none of them going to get it, which they did, but just not in the way I wanted. Like I'd have been fine with. I'd have liked Jon. I'm gonna say I'd have liked Jon on the throne, which he easily could have. To be fair, like they could have easily defeated the Unsullied army, and had Jon on the throne.
I think so, honestly. Yeah, I think that whatever they decided, it was kind of a swerve from out of nowhere. Like we're gonna go with the option that has not been built up all these years to this moment. Yeah. We're gonna go with a completely out of the wing like phase, which to me I was like, no, this is not Game of Thrones. This is the writers getting lazy. You know?
Exactly.
It was very much we're just wanting this to be over. Draft. Exactly. You know?
Like if I'm being honest, the brand sidetracks of Game of Thrones were just not my favorite. Like they were my least favorite, I'm gonna say my least favorite, easily. But you know who I would have liked, who would have been interesting to get the throne? I forgot his name, the eldest Stark son, who was the original King of the North.
Rob.
Yeah, Rob. That would have been interesting, I'm not gonna lie.
I do like, though, his story arc in that he was destined to take the throne, but it was his own hubris, his own small mistakes that cost him. And I think it kind of set the parallel for Game of Thrones in that you can't go back on your word because it does pay in the later run. You always got to pay the toll in Game of Thrones. If you go back on your words, there's a good chance it's going to stop you later on, and we've seen that. It came back to bite him with the Frey. So I think that was a great moment to instill that. But you're right. I think that Rob, in a lot of ways, it kind of felt like the same in, I don't know if you guys know your history, but there was Robert the Bruce, who was set to try and take over, or not take over, get the English out of Scotland. And Rob was kind of doing the same. He didn't want to take the Iron Throne. He just wanted a North, wanted a true North, and just them to be independent, and that was it. So it kind of reminded me of that story. But he never got that far because he made some really fatal mistakes, in the Game of Thrones. You never cross your allies.
I get what you mean, 100%, because the way they wrote it, all the way up until the last 1 or 2 seasons, the Starks and the Targaryens are both made to seem like the protagonists, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, the good guys, almost the main characters, like the guys that deserve the throne.
Yeah.
I'd have loved to see Ned Stark carry on. Like, I know he had to die, it was necessary, but I'd have loved to see him carry on.
I can't lie, there was some tears. I cried so much during all seasons of Game of Thrones. I think in the last season, I think I cried at every episode.
I'm not gonna lie.
I got physically attached. I was emotionally attached. It was horrid. But,
I mean, they do a good job at that. They do a good job. The thing is, in my opinion, the first 4 or 5 seasons are the best seasons for me. Best seasons easily.
That's
got the most going on,
Like, I think it's because they had the blueprint and George R. R. Martin finished his books. They were all done with till the Dance of Dragons.
Yeah.
And then after that, they were like, right, we've caught up. When can we get these books? And he basically just said, I'm not finished, And the thing with an artist is that, listen, if they're not finished, they're not going to be rushed, And George is taking his process with that really seriously. Still not finished them. So I think he needs to just take his time in doing them because that's his thing. It's his world, So it's all him at that day. But I think that they kind of did the wrong thing in that they went in a completely tangible, different way. And they did it fast. They did it really quick. When you look at, like, you guys might disagree or might agree, but season 1 and season 5, there is, like, when you look at what happens in the season, not a lot happens. There's some amazing ups and amazing downs. When you think about how far the characters went, geographically, they didn't go much of anywhere. Then you go from season 5 onwards, and people seem to just hop across Westeros as if it's nothing. There's no like filling in those gaps. It's just, we suddenly ended up in Bravos, and missed opportunity because I know that HBO wanted 13 seasons.
Ooh.
They wanted 13. Why? And his partner was saying, you'll get maybe 8.
No, I think you could easily get 13.
Easily? I think. Easily. No, you can always go on because it's literally a Game of Thrones. You can always add new characters, add new families. You can develop it so easily.
Yeah, but they wanted it done because they had other offers. They were like, "Oh no, we got other things we got to do." So, disappointing. But
it was that was my word to describe the last season. Because when we were first talking about it, we had to describe it in one word. I picked disappointing. That was going to be my next question. You've got one word to describe the last season. What word you doing?
Yeah. I have an interesting question for you guys. Do you think there is someone solely to blame for what happened? Or do you think it's a combination of a lot of things?
More of a combination.
Yeah.
I feel like they just, from what I'm hearing now, because I didn't look too much into this, I feel like it's maybe they couldn't get the 13th season, so they had to try and wrap it up quickly, and it's a rush job, basically. And you can tell. I'm going to say that. You can tell.
The actors weren't happy. Whenever they were asked about it, they were like, it is what it is, you know.
Mm.
Very political, but then some have voiced their complaints quite vocally. I know Kit has voiced his complaints quite. For those who don't know Kit Harington, I'm referring to, but yeah, he voiced it quite evidently, and a few others, and people like Emilia Clarke have been very nice about it. Like, oh yeah, it wasn't what we thought it was going to be, but you know, but a lot of the actors, a lot of talent. I mean, it's years of their life, and for a lot of them, this was their first role. Like when you think about it, like Sansa, like who's played by Sophie Turner, and you think about
the sister, Maisie Williams.
Yeah, Maisie Williams, like
She was great.
Fantastic.
They were raised in this, you know. So it's like, can you imagine getting to the end of that, and that's it for you. You know, that's it for your character. I suppose that those two had a really good ending. When you think about endings, those two had a great ending.
Yeah,
like
with probably
easily you can do a spin-off. So many spin-offs you can do easily.
Definitely. The thing is with me, I got like if someone told me that I had to pick a favorite character, I couldn't. I honestly couldn't. Like the White Walkers, that bit, I wasn't too impressed. Like the first introduced them, I was like, God, this is gonna be ending up like good storyline.
Yeah.
I was so excited for this last season, and then I think it was it the 4th episode?
Around there, around 4th, 5th,
Around
battle.
Arya just stabs him and he dies. All the White Walkers die, and you're just like, really? That?
Yeah.
As cool as it was.
I mean, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. But that episode, that whole battle episode, that was a damn good battle episode.
Yeah.
That was a great episode. I'm gonna say that last season was a bit disappointing
as well.
But that episode, amazing.
Honestly. It's especially great when you don't. It's like to happen. Value the more you watch it. It's one of those, you know. I mean, you can still enjoy it because it is such an enjoyable battle, you know. But it's one of those things where you only get one first for that one.
True.
The palpation that's in your heart of you don't know what's going to happen, you know. And of course, Ron's favorite scene, the Melisandre walking into the distance in the frozen wastelands or keeling over.
What was I forgot his name, but he was protecting Bran at the last, like as the White Walker was coming from, pretty much. It's not Tyrion.
Wasn't it the Stark guy?
He's one of the Starks.
Yeah, it's one of the Starks that they thought was dead.
Theon Greyjoy.
Yeah. Oh, Theon. Yeah. Okay, Theon.
Theon. Yeah.
That was his redemption.
Was good. That was the bit that made me cry.
Yeah. Because he went from
a good man
traitor to being there for them in the end. You know,
that's probably one of the most interesting storylines. To be fair, like I enjoyed watching him progress. Definitely.
Yeah. He went from
the Lannister scene as well. Like afterwards, I was like, oh, now that the White Walkers are done, we're gonna see Daenerys go rogue.
Oh, honestly,
that was gonna be
my heart
done in one episode.
As soon as she just started killing everybody, I'm like, oh, like bells rung. I'm like, okay, we've won this. We're about to do some victory dance on King's Landing, you know. But no, she's like, burn them all. Oh, my mood just like drops, man. Honestly.
Yeah. I
wanted to see her win. Like I was like, Cersei, you don't know, ain't nothing left for you. But no, like she made herself the enemy.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, sorry, you go.
Speaking of that scene, the one after where Jaime got his moment. I hated Jaime from the very start, and then in that last season, I grew to like him. He was getting there with us, and then he died. And I was like, oh well, that's that.
For me, it was when he lost his hands. That's when he started to show he was a person, if that makes sense.
More than the best swordsman in Westeros.
My advice, if you're going to watch Game of Thrones and you've never seen it before, yes, we've already spoiled it for you, but don't get attached to characters.
Yeah.
It goes bad. I got attached to Ned in the first season.
Oh, we love
It's like,
Ned.
I'm really liking Ned. He's quality. He's quality. Oh, there's his head gone.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, I love
There
Rob.
goes Ned.
Oh, wow, he's dead too.
Yeah.
You know betrayal after a few seasons of Game of Thrones. You're like, I don't know who to love anymore.
That's what I liked so much about Game of Thrones. They weren't scared to get rid of the main characters.
Exactly.
And
And the thing is, the attachment is good. It might be bad when they die, but it's good that you get so attached to them. It's like, it shows the writing is good. It shows you get into the show, you know.
Yeah.
Well, Thingy, let me throw this out there. Like, let me go back to battles. There were a lot of good battles in Game of Thrones. A lot of good battle scenes, good battle episodes.
Yeah.
What were your top battle episodes?
Battle of the B words.
Yes.
Wait. Which one was? Oh, okay. That was
Yes.
that was satisfying. When Ramsay lost.
Probably my favorite episode of the full Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
I'm not sure if it was my favorite, but I was happy with how it ended.
Yeah.
Nah, and it got me riled up. The way they killed, what was his name? The Stark brother. Oh, I can't remember his name. Was it you know the Stark brother who was like the oldest, the younger one? Yeah, was it Rickon or something?
Rickon, it was Rickon.
Yeah, Rickon. The way he killed Rickon, I was like, nah, bro, fight me now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was around. I really hate that Ramsay character. Honestly, when he died, I was thrown. We talked about this last episode. I was like, oh, forgot him. Come on now.
I didn't like Ramsay, but I found him funny. I quite enjoyed what
No, it was all
played
hate
the
for me.
part. It was,
All hate.
Oh, he was a great actor for sure, but
Yeah.
like the character, like he did so well in making you detest the character. Like you almost come out of yourself, like with repulse, with
it was the same with Joffrey. King
yeah.
Joffrey.
Oh
Him?
my god, yes.
His death scene was a good scene.
It was good, and it was kind of humanizing as well.
Yeah.
Because for all his tyrannical arrogance, he was a little boy dying in his mother's arms.
To be honest, I didn't see Joffrey as badly as everyone else did, only because you can tell the only reason he was that bad was because of his mom. His mom hyped him up all the way until he was king. Made him seem like a big man. Oh, you're going to have all of this. It's going to be yours. You can do what you want. And that's what he got. That's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I am the king.
I blame Cersei, man. But no, I think the other good, but I'd say Battle of B-Words, that was a good one. I'd say Blackwater as well. And obviously the one in Winterfell with the White Walkers. Those probably my top three.
A big one here.
Well, which one?
Versus not Scarface.
Okay, no, that wasn't a battle, but I get you.
It was a battle.
That was a fight.
Well,
a duel or something. No, that was not a battle. It was a good fight though.
That was a good.
It was. I enjoyed that.
And when the mountain just crushes.
Oh.
That was. Ever since I've seen that, I've always wanted to be able to do it. Just imagine grabbing someone's eyes and squeezing them so hard you crush the skull with your bare hands.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I think we're learning a lot about Cam today.
yes, we are.
OJ and BC would like to know that there is no liability caused during this podcast, and in the event of anything that Cam does after this podcast, there's no liability back to OJ and FortyThor. Thank you.
Already know.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good fight, I'm not gonna lie. But I was growing to like that guy. What's he called?
I forgot.
I forgot his name. But the Prince of Dawn, the Prince of Dawn, yeah.
Oh yeah. Martell.
Yeah. He was a good actor.
Oberyn Martell. That was it.
Martell, that's it. He was a good actor. He's
everywhere now.
Yeah.
He grew on you, definitely.
Yeah, he's in Narcos now. He's in The Mandalorian. He's in almost everything. The Gentleman, or what was it called? What's that movie called? Kingsman. He was the guy with the pistols and the whip.
Yeah, I just realized.
that role catapulted him into stardom, and it was only a few episodes he was in.
Yeah.
He did it. He did it well.
You know you're good. You've got Lena Headey across from you. You've got the guy who plays Tyrion Lannister. I can't remember his name. You're surrounded by thespians, incredible actors, and you somehow stand out in like maybe like 5-6 episodes in a season.
Exactly.
You know you're good when, you know.
Actually, okay. Let's put this out there. We've kind of been surrounding this whole area. Best actors in Game of Thrones. I'm gonna say it now. My list: Kit Harington, whoever played Ramsay Bolton, thingy. I feel like I forgot. Oh, Peter Dinklage. Definitely Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage is there.
Those, I think those are my top 3. Those have to say my top 3. Ed?
I'm gonna let Ron go first.
I wouldn't put Kit. Kit, no. I'm gonna swap out Kit for Maisie Williams.
Okay.
Ramsay definitely, and Tyrion. Yeah.
Okay.
Although they're not my favourite characters.
Okay, so who are your favorite characters?
I can't pick one, but can't be that much of my favourite. I forgot his name. It's been that long since I watched it. Not the Mountain, the other one.
The Hound. The Hound.
Hound.
Oh,
Yeah,
the Hound.
Hound.
McElroy.
Yeah. He
amazing.
I love him
Definitely a good
all
actor.
throughout it.
Ed, what about you? Top 3 actors?
Ooh, Peter Dinklage has to be one.
Definitely.
I agree with Ron in that it's definitely got to be the guy who plays Ramsay Bolton. He's just incredible. And again, you've seen him from such a low impact in something like Misfits to then be on Game of Thrones and really see how diverse he's come. And this one's a bit out there, but Rose Leslie, who played the wildling that John fell in love with.
Oh, okay. They actually got married, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, in real life, yeah.
Ygritte's character for me was incredible. She was John's heart, and Rose Leslie did an incredible job. You know, absolutely.
Yeah, that was. You brought back more memories, that was.
Yeah. Although she looks nothing like the books described her. My God.
So have you read the books as well?
Yep. Read the books.
So I really wish I read the books before I watched it, but I just didn't. I
get you.
I'm not a strong reader.
I get you.
It is incredibly descriptive reading from George R.R. Martin, but he's great with it. I think once you get past the first book, you can get tucked into them and you kind of know where you're going with it. It's then trying to figure out where everybody is and who's who after that, because names get thrown everywhere and alliances get thrown everywhere, you know, and then times get thrown everywhere as well, because you don't go by chapter 1, chapter 2, you go by John. You read John's story. You then go by Tyrion. You read his story. You know.
Okay.
You go by stages and where they are. You know.
I wonder if they've done it in audiobooks.
They have.
That'd be interesting.
I
have actually started Harry Potter in audiobooks. I'm gonna say that. Yes, I haven't watched Harry Potter. I know if anyone actually watches until this point, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that. Talking all about Harry Potter, I've never actually read it.
How good is Stephen Fry as the voice of Harry Potter on an audiobook?
It is good, I'm not gonna lie. It's very soothing. I listen to it in bed.
So eloquent, so amazing. I wish they had something similar. I mean, they did a nice one, the audiobook for A Dance with Dragons, because there's A Dance of Dragons, which is one of the 5 big books from the Song of Ice and Fire. But they also have a prequel series called The Dance with Dragons, which is about how the Targaryens fell, you know, and they did a great audiobook with that. Whoever was the voice actor, I was like, I really wish he did all of the Game of Thrones audiobooks, because he just had such a great voice. He reminded me of Stephen Fry a little bit, but I've also listened to the audiobooks. I just love consuming the content. But
let's see. I get you, man.
I have a question for you both. If you had to live in a Game of Thrones city or town, where you picking?
Bravos.
Ooh. No, yeah, I'd say Bravos as well. Bravos
Oh.
seems like a good mix, and very inclusive as well, actually.
Yeah, you can go anywhere from Bravos, but Bravos is probably one of the better ones if you can. I would not like to be in King's Landing.
Hell to the no, no, no,
Sorry.
no.
Why not King's Landing?
No, if you go to King's Landing, you're gonna end up poor as hell. You're gonna end up assassinated, and no one's even gonna know or care.
And also the amount of explosions that happen.
Ain't it, man? The one blew up every monument, and it's just like that's another Wednesday in King's Landing. You know what I'm saying?
The bomb's like, okay, guess what? That's about it. So used.
I'm surprised you didn't pick the North.
No, I like the North. I like the cold, obviously, but there's something called too cold, and at the same time,
in the North as well.
I'd love
yeah, at the
to
same time,
go.
like when you actually look at Winterfell, it does not look very big, and as well as that, it does not look very nice to live in. Like even for the Starks, they might be living nice and all that, but they do not actually look like they're living a luxurious life. And they're
the country house, like because a lot of the Northerners, if you notice, they tend their fields, they tend their castles, they do the work. It's when you start seeing people go down towards the south, you notice that there's aristocratically something different. They're a lot more of the slave orientation, the resource trading. They have a lot more agriculture. The North doesn't have that luxury. There's a lot more farming. There's a lot more in terms of agriculture, but they can't not tend the fields because of the harshness that the North has. And the more it goes, the harsher it gets. And of course, the long winter then comes, or the long night comes, and that's even worse. So yeah, it would suck being in Winterfell for that reason. You know, it's why they're so strong. It's why they're so tough. Like, but it would suck.
I would like that, mate.
That's a great word. It would suck.
Yeah.
I'd like to live in Winterfell. I'd love to be part of
You
that.
guys, what house sword is your favorite?
Ooh.
So they have Valyrian steel swords of these different houses, and which one have you seen or heard of that you're like, I want me some of that?
I have an ornament of it,
Yeah,
and it is Jon Snow's sword.
That is a good sword.
Really,
long claw.
Longclaw is a good one.
it is brilliant. It's up on the shelf, just over in the corner.
Joseph?
I don't think I have one, but I'd say it's between Longclaw and the one Samuel Tarly stole. I don't know why. Wait, what?
Heartsbane.
Heartsbane. I don't know why I really like that sword.
It's so good. It's
It
a
is.
long pommel act, and I think it's a hand and a half sword, that one. But it's a beautiful one, Heartsbane. Oh,
It is,
but
honestly.
even the idea of these different swords from these different houses, to me, is like, that's such a unique thing in Game of Thrones, but it is something that almost seems familiar, like the sword of Gryffindor, or Arthur's sword, Excalibur, which there is a story within Game of Thrones that is about Arthur's sword, which is the Sword of Dorne. It was mentioned a couple of times in Game of Thrones, and you saw Sir Arthur Dane, who, do you remember that scene when Ned was young and Bran was watching Ned head to the Tower of Love?
Yeah.
There was a man who dished out two swords. Well, one of those swords was the Sword of Dorne, and that was Arthur Dane, the legendary knight that Ned was talking about. And he was based off of King Arthur. Like, George R. R. Martin based him off of King Arthur. So the fact that Ned said he killed him, but he actually didn't kill him, someone else killed him, and then he stabbed him, it to me is like, that's so Game of Thrones. It's not a myth. It's real men. It's real people doing stuff like this to get ahead. Even the great Ned Stark,
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you know what was a nice sword? Not my favorite, but I can't remember what she called, Maisie Williams, what she called her sword.
The needle.
The needle, yes. How did I forget the needle? I like the needle. I don't know why. Just something.
I was going to give that an honorable mention.
Yes, exactly. Needle has to go on there. But Ed, what's your favorite sword?
My favorite sword hasn't appeared in the series yet. It's called Blackfire, and it is the sword of the House Targaryen. It's
Okay.
the backstory of this is that the sword in Targaryen was made specifically for the next house, for the next person, next of kin to inherit the throne since the day of Aegon. Aegon, this was his sword. His and his sisters would wield Blackfire. And it got handed down, but it didn't get its name Blackfire until the Blackfire Rebellion, which was essentially where one of the Targaryen kings had bastard sons and he had everybody around his bed. And in his dying breath, he made the biggest mistake. He legitimized every single one of his sons, his illegitimate sons. And this began the Blackfire Rebellion. So all of these trying not to swear for the channel, but these illegitimate sons then went to war with all of the other legitimate sons to try and get after the throne. And this is where Blackfire became almost a signal for who's going to inherit the throne. So this legendary sword, if you can look it up, Blackfire, it's such a cool sword.
That would make a 6 series though. Like that story in itself.
There are so many. Blackfire Rebellion, Dunk and Egg, Dance with Dragons, all of it. Just the conquering of King's Landing when Aegon and his sisters came over. It's all there. It's just, they can do what they want with it.
I feel like production companies would do this if there wasn't so much stigma, and not as in bad stigma, but pressure. If you're putting on a series in this Westerosi world, it has to be good. That's why they messed up in the last. The fact that they messed up in the last season of Game of Thrones just made it worse for any other person considering to do a series in Westeros. I was like, there's too much pressure
in the last season.
Okay,
they've rushed the last season.
Yeah, they rushed it,
but
they did not do it.
It has put a lot of people off because they had a spin-off series ready to go that they cancelled.
I'm not surprised.
It's to let the heat die down.
Because you said yourself, Ed, these are businesses. If the last one doesn't do well, then they're not going to buy. No one's going to buy into the other one.
Exactly. You got to let the heat die down. And Game of Thrones is still a liable commodity. Yeah. It's always going to be a liable commodity as long as there's a fan base. If you have a 10% capacity for your fan base, they will buy merch. They will invest their time and their money into what people produce. It's just trying to get everybody else. And this is the thing about Game of Thrones that they kind of ruined, is that it wasn't just the core fans. They had the general population of people talking about Game of Thrones. My mom, my gran were talking about Game of Thrones. And I didn't even talk to them about it. I haven't introduced them about it. And they were like, oh, I really like that Tyrion Lannister. And I was like, what? It's just incredible, though. It's like you never get that with, and I know that a lot of people are like, yeah, well, my mom does, or Marvel, Star Wars, Star Trek. When has your parents or your grandparents ever come to you about that? That's something that Game of Thrones got, and unfortunately, with this last season, it's kind of diminished it as well. So I think they're going to need to take time, let the heat die down, then let it come back.
I have a question for you.
Go on.
So, when did you start watching it? What season was it out before you started watching it? You watched it from
season 1. Damn, son. Okay. I mean, I started 2 years ago. I got up to season 6. I stopped. I do not know. Do I even know why I stopped? I think I had exams or something. I stopped. I only picked up recently. Like you guys know, I literally I was always in the group chat talking about what's happening in Game of Thrones. But I only finished it recently. I finished season 6, 7, all of the most recent seasons now this year.
Still, the pain's still fresh.
Exactly. That's why I'm so revved up about this.
See, I was late to it. I started watching it as season 6 was coming out. So I think they were releasing an episode every week, I think. And by the time I caught up, it just finished. Like the last episode had just been aired. I was like, I'm going to be spot on here. I'm going to have all of them to watch. And I ended up getting through Game of Thrones that season 6 in a day, or just over a day.
Trust, we've all been there. We've all been there, bro.
Say that, I've not.
Okay, fair enough.
It's a
I've watched it.
binge-worthy program.
To week, to year, to week, to week, for so many years. It was just, yeah.
No, but the thing is, I hate it when I'm watching a series that's still coming out and I'm all caught up just after they finished releasing a new series, because that means you have to wait probably a whole other year until it comes out again, and you're just so excited and revved up, but you just need to wait. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, I think there's a solace in that because you don't know what's going to happen, like, at all. Like, you go from a season 1 to season 2, and you're like, okay, there's a season 2. You don't know if there's going to be a season 3 or anything like that. So there's a solace in that. I'd also think there's also a benefit of coming in later because you know that there's like a good chunk of content, there's a good chunk of story that you can get stuck into and not be disappointed. Like, I think for a fear for a lot of people when they start a series is that, oh, this might end in season 1, which is a totally real thing. You know, a lot of series when they start, especially fantasy series, don't make it past this first season. You know, so when people see it's renewed for a second season, they're like, oh, okay, might as well get tucked in then. You know, camp it.
I also have a little fun fact for you as well.
Go on then.
Barack Obama.
Yeah.
He's in Game of Thrones.
No, he's not.
In it.
No, he's not. Is he?
His head is in Game of Thrones.
His head's in Game of Thrones.
So do you know when Ned Stark is getting put on the stick?
Yeah.
To go outside of the castle. Barack Obama is one of them heads, dressed up.
That's insane.
And it's filmed
Seriously?
in Malta. And this is... So one of the actors that were in was on the Game of Thrones tour that I was on.
Yeah,
and he was explaining, we were having so many chats about it. And he was saying he was on like an extra in it as they were doing the Game of Thrones heads. Like, so they were all on the stick and one of them fell off. And the guy who was doing all the heads and designing them all, he didn't have a spare head. He only had Barack Obama's head. So they had to disguise it and put it on a stick.
Oh, that was funny.
So yeah, but
I mean, I don't know. Get the president in there.
It's one of those things, though. It's like so many questions. Why Barack Obama?
I mean, why not Barack Obama? Why not?
That's true. Why not Barack Obama? But it's one of those things where you're like, you have a spare head. Can you imagine if it was like Darth Vader or like Chewbacca or
Okay, good point.
If you had a spare head, you tried decorating it and be like, right, okay, we need to not look like this person.
Well, you know what? That is a good point. Why did they randomly have Barack Obama's head lying around?
Very random.
They were filming something else as well. So
honestly,
involving off with his head.
Just
okay. Let me ask you guys this. Let's say you're in Westeros. You're a fairly like tall, let's say 6'2", white male, decent swordsman from a good family.
Right.
What is the best family for that to be? Average male. You're not a dwarf. Like you're not a dwarf. You have 2 hands. You're just like downright average for a rich family. So you're like a good swordsman and everything. Not what's your favorite. What is the best house to be in? Honestly, I feel like without watching it, just in general, I'd probably say, without knowing the storyline, I'd probably say maybe either Lannisters or the High Garden. That's Tyrells. They got the money.
Lannisters, but then it's all the isn't it?
Or maybe the Dornish royal family, because they are some cool guys.
I find it ironic how you picked 2 families that are now completely dead.
That's true, yeah. But that without knowing the storyline, because the fact that they were so powerful, wanted more power, probably is basically what led to their demise.
And that's the thing, is that I think it's the concept of the Game of Thrones. Like, if you're a player, you have to play or die.
Exactly.
You know? And I think that's the thing with Game of Thrones is that if you're a family that's prominent, you have to survive at all costs.
Exactly.
By trying.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, so if you affiliate yourself with the wrong person or you go back on your word at any point, that's it. Like, you can be excommunicated, exiled, labeled a traitor, or be on the wrong side at the wrong time. You know, like, it's such a thing. But
no, but I love that. I love that about Game of Thrones. Like, you can boil it down so simply to one word: a game. And there's so many players, so many intricate parts, so much flesh to that bone. And to be honest, I'd say best player of that game, Peter Dinklage, Tyrion Lannister.
Yeah,
best player. I'm saying.
Great.
He probably saw it as a game. To be honest, so he knew what it was.
He says, "I know how this game is played."
Mm-hmm.
That's the question for you. What's your favourite quotes?
Oh.
I'll tell you mine.
Go on.
Tyrion Lannister. I drink and I know things. That is my goal in life. Just imagine anything you pull out. I drink and I know things. Drink and I know things.
That's a good one.
Joseph?
Ooh. Give me a second. Ed?
I have two that for me are very heavily contested because one is this famous "he who passes the sentence swings the sword." You know, that for me will forever be branded as one of the iconic moments of Dead Stark. But my favorite quote, I think, that just cusps over it is, "There's a beast inside every man, and he stirs every time he puts his hand on the sword."
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like that. And that can be taken very literally or very metaphorically.
Yeah.
Okay. I Googled mine. I had to look it up because I literally could not remember my life what it was word for word. Any man who must say, "I am the king," is no true king.
Tywin Lannister. Tywin man.
There we go.
Can we just talk about Tywin for a minute? That man is so...
the complexity and simplicity and emotional disturbance, emotional turmoil, the drunkenness, the playmaking,
Tywin's just a genius.
Like, the thing is about Game of Thrones, there's so many characters. I've just thought about another 10. Like, Red Worm. No, Grey Worm. Is it Grey Worm?
Grey Worm, yeah. He was a great actor.
Miss Sandy, my favourite. She's got a special place in my heart. You've got the Jaime Lannister's mate. I forgot his name.
Jamie's mate.
Sir Bronson Blackwater.
Ooh, he was good.
Yeah, I think it was him. The bald guy who got burned by the fire.
Varys.
That's one. There's just loads. You're just how on earth you can remember some of them as well. You're just like, geez.
Yeah. Here's a good question on the subject of Varys. Who in Game of Thrones do you think did not deserve to die the way they did?
It would be him. It would probably be him, to be honest.
Ned.
See, I thought it was ironic the way that Ned went.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, Joffrey didn't swing the sword, and Joffrey sentenced it. So I wish Joffrey swung the sword.
Could he swing the sword?
I was going to say, could you?
Probably not, but
no. But let me say this: do you remember the first ever scene in Game of Thrones when Ned Stark is beheading that deserter?
That's not the first scene.
Is that not the first scene?
No, the first scene is the drawbridge goes up and 3 men are going out beyond the wall.
Oh, okay, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the first scenes when Ned Stark is beheading the deserter, that is so wholesome for me. Like, do you know what I mean? Deserter
Yeah.
from Night's Watch getting beheaded. Like, it just says so much about what's gonna happen. Like,
That's
having watched it all, I just like
think-
where it is. Like, damn good job, I'm gonna say. Honestly.
Man who swings the sword. That's where he said it, isn't it?
It's
He's-
when Bran couldn't watch him,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and he basically told him, "He who passes the sentence swings the sword," telling him, "You're going to do this one day." You know.
We'll go on a lighter note. What was your funniest scene?
Ooh.
Oh,
It's the
it has
funniest.
to be. What's his name? Is it Baldric or Podrick?
Podrick.
Podrick. When he puts the gold back on the table and he says, "Did you forget to pay them?" He says, "No, they didn't want it." What do you mean they didn't want it? They said they enjoyed it, and then they all grab the they'll grab the trays and like, "What did you do exactly?" That was
funny.
funniest scene. Is that
That was funny.
he went from The Apprentice,
To the master.
the top. I'm not sure if I can say the word, but banger, the top banger. And then people are like, "What's under there?" But he would always come back, and women would be like, "Come back anytime, seriously."
What about you, Joe? What was your funniest scene?
I don't know. I don't know Game of Thrones for the funny scenes. But there are a lot of funny scenes, but it's just that's not the one side.
Some of them are quite hard to remember. Like
Yeah.
one that comes to mind is the very first one with Lannister and Cersei in the top of the castle,
Yeah.
and Jamie's just reaction, just meh, push him out the window. That
Actually,
means-
you know what is funny?
That's-
When
I don't like these. These are horrid.
the thing, you know what is funny? When what's he called? Theon Greyjoy finds out his sister is his sister.
Yeah. Yeah. That was.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, did you just?
I mean, let's not say anymore.
Exactly.
Actually, look,
I've forgot about
That show is brought to you by Manscaped.
that. I was thinking about sisters and Ned. No, not Ned. Jon Snow
Mm.
and Daenerys. They're related.
Yeah, that's his aunt.
Yeah, I
oh,
forgot.
that is messed up, to be honest.
But I love how when she found out, she was like, "Yeah, it's no thing." As in, yeah, this happens in my family, and he's just like, "I'm sorry, what?"
That's a big part of Game of Thrones.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. Actually, let me throw this out there. Who do you think, in the end of Game of Thrones, got to where they were the most, like got highest up most based on dumb luck? I'm gonna say it now. It's Sabron of the Blackwater. Dumb luck.
Absolutely.
Dumb luck. 100%.
Right place, right time.
That man just followed the money. Just followed the money. He made a ton of enemies, and luckily, none of them came back to bite him. He got lucky. I must say now. He got lucky. Okay, to end him. None of them were able to finish him. Oh, honestly. What about you guys? Any other characters?
What's his face? The illegitimate son of Robert. Or Bot or whatever his name is.
Oh yeah, the one that.
Yeah, Rob Baratheon's like illegitimate son.
This
Yeah, he went from dirt poor, flea bottom, all the way to prominence. You can even go by the Onion Knight, Sir Davos, Seaworth. For Davos.
I liked him. He was a nice man.
But I would say Rob's illegitimate son. Yeah. He came from nothing.
This one could be controversial, but I'm gonna throw Sansa Stark.
Explain. Explain.
Like, I feel it's been a while since I've watched it, mind, but
no, I get you. I get what you're saying. I get you.
I don't think she was as involved.
It's true, yeah.
She was a girl. She was a little girl.
Yeah,
That's the thing, though.
Maisie Williams, like Arya,
That's true.
she was like absolutely like. I'm gonna go from lines, but like Arya was up there and Sansa was just there. You just wouldn't expect it. Like,
I get you though. Like that's the thing though. Sansa was made to seem as this amazing, powerful, strong, almost independent woman. When you look at her story, half of how she got to where she got to was Littlefinger. Like, let's be honest. Half of her success was Littlefinger.
Peter Baelish.
Peter Baelish.
Lord Baelish, yeah.
Lord Baelish, yeah. He was a good actor. He was a good actor.
I didn't like him. Really didn't like him.
He was so good though in his roles.
He was
so good because he was never the main factor, and yet that backfired in the end. He's put his hand. He showed his hand. You know.
Yeah.
And it was because of his previous love for, what's her face, the Stark mum.
Yeah.
Like he's one of the guys who tried to play the game.
The like hole in the door was open and he gets pushed down, isn't it? Yeah. What's her name?
Oh no, not her. Like the mum, like Sansa and Arya's mum.
Yeah, Lady Stark.
Lady Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Littlefinger fell in love with her when he was a slave boy from the Littlefinger Islands, and then he ended up being like, I think it was like a stable boy to the Tully clan, and then that's how he met her because she was one of the daughters of the Tully.
Does Lady Stark die in the Red Wedding?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or does she?
No, don't toy with me, Ed. Don't toy with me, okay?
Well, have you ever heard of Lady Stoneheart?
No.
Have I? I don't think so.
Okay, so this is where the series and the books diverge. So Lady Stark didn't technically die. She was reborn under the Red God or the God of Flame, and she became Lady Stoneheart. So do you remember those brothers under the banner that became the first priests of the new god? Do you remember when what was his face? The Hound and all that, they got kidnapped in that time?
Yeah.
And Arya as well? Well, it was meant to be not just the priest. It wasn't just meant to be him that got kidnapped. It was also meant to be Lady Stoneheart. And Lady Stoneheart was the leader. She was the leader of this. And it was Lady Stark, but her throat was opened. And she couldn't speak. She couldn't talk.
Wow.
She could only like move her hands or gesture in certain ways, and she was just like cold. Look it up after this, Lady Stoneheart, because that's her, but she's brought back to life.
Isn't it true that Daenerys has purple eyes, pink eyes, as well in the books? Yeah.
So all Targaryens of Targaryen bloodlines have purple eyes.
That would be sick.
And white hair.
Purple eyes.
Wait, what about Jon?
He's the first.
Ooh, fair enough.
But most Blackfire illegitimate sons were like Jon in that they didn't resemble the Targaryens because they were half-born. Most Targaryens intermixed. So it was Valerian mixed, purple eyes, ashen hair. But when they crossed over with a different one, it was chances are that they were going to get one or the other or sometimes none. And because Lyanna Stark's northern genes were so prominent, Jon was very fair like a Targaryen, but he was actually like stone black, like incredibly so. This is the thing, is that he had not really any features of Ned. So people were like, is that Ned? No.
Well,
I have
We have
another
talked
question.
about Game of Thrones for a long time.
I've got one more question. One more.
Go on.
All right. Have you ever been to anywhere where they've filmed it?
Ooh, no.
Can't say I have now.
Would you go? Would you go there?
It depends on where you mean.
Yeah.
I've been Croatia, where is King's Landon's filmed. The King's Landon. I got a
Is that Croatia?
yeah, it's Dubrovnik, and then I went to Split, where what's filmed in Split. There was another part of Game of Thrones filmed, and then Malta. Well, and do you know the scene where Daenerys is in the fire and she walks out the fire?
Yeah.
I've stood on that very rock.
Ooh,
That's pretty cool.
that was a good moment.
I've stood where Emil Clark has been naked. So, and it wasn't a body double either. It wasn't a body double.
Oh dear.
Don't know if you want to be showing off about that one, bro.
And on that note,
No.
It's a good place to end.
It.
all
Outro.
right, guys. That wraps up another episode from us, plus FortyThor, Thor, and our new acquaintance Ron, who joined us on an episode with OJ, BC. Any last words?
Thank you for having us.
You already know.
You already know. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
There we go.